everybody. Today you are going through Unit 2, Lesson 2 of the Code.org curriculum. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go to Code.org. So once you log in to Code.org, remember you're going to click Continue with Microsoft. And it should take you automatically to this page right here. Now hopefully you've already completed lesson 1, exploring web pages. That was the last lesson that we did. If you did, it should be green, right, where you looked at all the different sample web pages. Today we're doing lesson 2, Intro to HTML. Again, this should say Unit 2 up here. If not, you will need to go to Unit 2. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to click on, you can just go ahead and start with the lesson overview right here. Now, as we're going through this lesson, right now you've got this video playing, but then you also probably have this web page open as well. There's going to be frequent times where you're going to need to pause this video. What I would really recommend you doing is kind of go split screen with your web page here and this video. To do that, you're just going to click right up here and drag it until it's right over to the, see how it on the right side it does that little pop out thing? You do that and then have your video on the other side. So you'll notice now I've got kind of a split screen going. You can actually drag this until it snaps like this, and you can make the video as big or small as you want, and then you can make your web browser as big as or small as you want as well. Okay, that way you have the video going on the left side and you can do whatever you want on the right side. You don't have to like switch back and forth between the video and your actual web page. Okay, so if that helps you, feel free to use that. I'm going to have it full screen just because I don't need to have a video playing on the other side, right? So with that being said, today we're going to tell, our question of the day is, how can we tell the computer both what to put on the page, on the web page, and how to organize it? Okay, this lesson introduces HTML as a solution to the problem of how to communicate both the content and structure of a website to a computer. So we're learning how to code with HTML today. Okay, so the lesson begins with a brief unplugged activity. Actually, we're going to skip that part. So if we're in class together, we would do that, but we're going to skip that part for the video. The class then looks at an HTML page in WebLab and discusses how HTML tags help solve the problem before using HTML to write their first web pages of the unit. So you guys are actually going to be creating your very first web page of the unit today, which is kind of exciting, right? Some key vocab that we need to know, and if you are a note taker, which I would recommend that you are, I would recommend jotting down this vocab into your notebooks. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's basically just a language that we use to create web pages. An HTML element is a piece of a website marked by a start tag and often closed with an end tag. And I'm going to show you basically what that is, but like if you look down here at this new code right here, you can see these are HTML elements. It's got a start tag. This first P here is a start tag, and then the end P is an ending tag. Okay, then an HTML tag is the special set of characters that indicates the start and end of an HTML element and that element's type. Website content is the text and images on a website, and then website structure is how the content of the website is organized. Okay, for each of these codes, I would recommend writing each of them down. If you want to know what each of them does, what you can do is you can click on each one and it will take you to a page which gives you a description. Okay, so it's kind of nice, and it tells you actually what each one does. Okay, but we're going to explore a couple of them, so go ahead and click Continue to go on to the second stage up here. All right, now this says, welcome to WebLab. The platform you are in is called WebLab. There are 3 main parts of the screen in WebLab. Okay, so you can see here there are files, there's a workspace, and then there's a preview section, right? So here is our files section. If you have extra, like multiple files, they'd be listed right down here. Right in here is where we can type out whatever we want. Okay, this is our workspace where we type what we want our web page to look like. And then on the right side here, this is the preview. This is what our website's actually going to look like. Okay, so here's what it says to do. It says try typing something in the workspace. Then press refresh and save to see it in the preview area. So here's our workspace. Let's try and type something. I'm just going to type, I like pizza. Okay, that's what I'm going to type. You can type whatever you want. Just keep in mind, this is a class for school. It does need to be school appropriate. So just make sure you are writing something school appropriate in there for it to show on your web page. And then click this refresh and save and see what happens. And we can see all of a sudden it shows up right here on our website. I can type more stuff in here, right? I can type my favorite toppings are sausage and pepperoni. Okay, and then I can come over here to click refresh and save, and you can see it shows up then. Okay, so feel free to play around in this a little bit. You can pause this video right now if you want to play around, see what kind of happens. You can, if you press enter, you can see what happens when you type more stuff, right? And then we click refresh and save. You can see that the more stuff doesn't actually appear on the second line. It appears right at the end of what was typed before. Okay, so somehow we got to figure out how to format this, right? So we're going to figure out how to do that. But feel free to, if you want to pause it and play around a little bit, feel free. This version history thing right here, by the way, if you click that, and let's say you want to start over, you don't like any of the changes you made, you can click start over, and it basically gives you a clean slate, right? If I wanted to, I could restore the version I just had, and it would come right back to me, right? So feel free to pause the video if you want. I'm going to finish this though, and we're going to go on to the next page. What this is a video. This is an introduction to Web Lab part 1. So there's 2 videos that's part of this lesson. I want you to pause my video right now, and I want you to play this video. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Now that you have watched that video, let's look at this page. All right, so this is a web page written in HTML, the language of the web. So we've talked about HTML, right? Hypertext Markup Language. It's the language that you're going to be using to code certain websites. You'll learn more about how it works, but first explore it by using the inspector tool. By the way, you guys can rearrange this a little bit, right? So there's some of the stuff can be dragged depending on how you want it to look, right? It's kind of up to you. So you can drag this up and down. You can make this bigger or smaller, right? So just keep in mind that there is more stuff here that, right, you might not show the whole thing, right? So the inspector tool, well, this right here says, how do I use the inspector tool? If I click on this, it says the inspector tool is a great way to learn more about the unfamiliar code in Web Lab. To turn on the inspector tool, click inspector right here. Right now it's turned off. If I click it, it then gets turned on. If you will know that the inspector tool is on because the button will turn white and say inspector mode odd. Once you turn on the inspector tool, you can hover over anything in the preview area. Remember, the preview area is like this right here. Let's see. Is it working? Hang on, let me turn it off and turn it back on. Why is it not working for me right now? Oh, you have to actually click in it. Okay, so you got to click in. Sorry, it took me a second to figure it out there, guys. I'm sure you probably figured it out before I did. You actually have to click on it, and what it does, if you click on the code right here in the preview, in this area right here, it will actually highlight it in the actual spot on the right. Right. So what I want you to do is go ahead and click do this. It says click the tip. How do I use the inspector tool? We already did that. Follow the instructions on the web page. So this is our web page right here. Okay. It says you are looking at an actual web page written in HTML, the language of the web. On the left side, you can see the code used by your computer to create this page. It says use the inspector tool to see what pieces of code are linked to what text on the web page. You can go ahead and click through this if you want. Right. When you click on a certain line, it should be highlighted. Okay. It says you can use the inspector tool to see what pieces of code are linked to what text on the page. So if you look through this code here, so right now you see all these different tags, right? And you probably don't really know what each of these tags does. But if you click on each element here, you can kind of see how it ends up looking on the right side. Okay, so think about each of these questions. You're not going to discuss these with your friend necessarily, your neighbors. Okay, you're just kind of thinking through these on your own. What text is appearing in both the code and the web page? And then how is this language communicating extra information about the way to represent text? Okay, so feel free to go ahead and go through this, play with this a little bit. You can kind of click around, see what it looks like when you actually, like here, I click on this H2 thing, and I can see that's, for some reason, that text is bigger than this other text, right? So play around with this a little bit, pause the video while you do that, and then when you're done, go ahead and click finish, and then keep going with the video. Alright, so this is our second video that I want you to pause my video and watch this. So go ahead and do that. It's going to explain some more stuff about HTML. Alright, we are on page 6 here. Okay, this is adding text to the body. When you start any web lab project, it will automatically add this doc type, HTML, head, and body tags, right? So here you can see the doc type, there's HTML, there's head, there's body, and you notice that there's a beginning and an ending to each one, right? So here you got, well, with the exception of this doc type HTML, but here's the beginning HTML, here's the end. Here's the beginning head and the end head. Here's the beginning body and the ending of the body, right? So when you add contents to your projects, you'll need to do it between the body tags. So here's our body tags. If we want to add something over here to our website, we want to do it in between these body tags. Okay? If I do it in between the head tags, what it's going to do is it's going to add a header to the page, and we don't want that. We want to add it to the body. Okay? Eventually we're going to add stuff as a header, but for this activity I think we're just doing the body. Okay? So you need to follow these instructions. It says write 3 separate sentences about any topic you like inside the body tags of your web page. Hit refresh and save if you don't see the changes in the preview area already, so it might just automatically update, but if it doesn't, hit this refresh and save button. Compare your work with a neighbor, make sure you're placing code in the same place. Okay, so go ahead, you're going to write 3 sentences, again school appropriate sentences, in this body area, and then click refresh and save and see how it appears on the right side. I'm going to go ahead and type in I like pizza, my favorite toppings are pepperoni and sausage. It tastes delicious. Okay, and you can see for me it automatically updates here on the right, but if it doesn't for you, you just click refresh and save and it will do it. Okay. Alright, page 7, using the paragraph tags. So these paragraph tags, or paragraph start and end tags, are placed around text to indicate that it is part of a paragraph. Placing text between paragraph start and end tags lets the computer know that it should be treated differently, often just spacing it out from other text. Okay, so what I want you to do is you can click through this. If you want to know what a paragraph element is, this explains it. How do you make multiple paragraphs? It explains it here. Okay, feel free to read through this if you like. You want to do this. So place the text you just wrote inside at least 2 separate paragraphs by surrounding it with this beginning paragraph and closing paragraph tags. Compare the results with your neighbor. What has changed about the way your text is displayed? Okay, so feel free to try it on your own. Pause the video, see if you can get these paragraphs to show up, or these sentences to show up as multiple paragraphs, like on separate lines. Okay. All right, so if you haven't yet figured it out yet, you have to add these tags, these paragraph tags. So you want a before tag, and at the end of the sentence you want a after tag. So you need this little greater than, a slash, and a P to close it off. Okay, so you can see what it does is it makes this its own paragraph, and then the rest of this goes on a new line. what I like to do, I'm going to even just enter that just so I know it's on the next, another paragraph. So I'll do a beginning paragraph here and an ending one with a /p. Okay, so that's our ending tag, and you notice it automatically puts it in its own paragraph now. And then this last one, I'm going to go ahead and do this as well, even though we only had to do 2, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and make that its own paragraph as well. Oops. P, like so. There we go. So now I've got 3 paragraphs like so. Hopefully you were able to get that figured out, but if you didn't, you can kind of see how that works with the different paragraphs. So if you want something to be a paragraph specifically, you have to make sure you use those beginning and end tags, and then in between those tags you put what you want the paragraph to be. Okay, and then now this is a debug and fix screen. The simple web page has some issues which are preventing the content from being displayed correctly. Identify and fix the issues. This practice is also called debugging your code. Again, you can look through each of these little options here to get more information. Okay, what I want you to do is just fix the broken code so that the web page displays correctly. So right here, there's some stuff that is messed up about this. So see if you can fix it, and then you can compare the problems you fixed with your neighbor if you'd like. And then when you're done with this, go ahead and click Finish. And then what you're going to do is go on to Canvas, and there is a discussion question posted on there. Do not go on to this. This is what we will do next class, but you're going to go on to the discussion question on Canvas and answer that, and then that'll be it for today. All right, have a good day.